What's going on?
Hey, what's up,
man?
guys?
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
We're doing good.
Jason, Steve, what's up? Welcome to Artist Waves. Thanks for being here, guys.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us. We're just over here quarantining still
Yep,
in Nashville.
living our truth.
Just the three of us.
Oh, nice. This is the first dog I've ever had on live, and
She's
been waiting.
she's a sweet treat.
Yeah, let's get a quick close up
Yeah.
here.
She's our muse.
Yeah,
Nice.
she writes all the lyrics,
Yeah, we can't-
technically.
Not right without her.
Yeah,
What's the dog's name, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, thank you for asking.
Yeah.
That's Pippin. That's Pippin.
Pippin, right on. All right.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, how are you guys? I know you said you're in Nashville. How's life in Nashville for you guys going? Everything starting to get a little bit better or okay?
Yeah. I mean,
it's still
it's definitely strange times. I
Yeah.
moved out here 2 years ago. Steve's been out here for about a year
year and a half.
and a half.
Yeah, a little over, I think. Yeah.
But we're loving it. 2020's been an interesting year, you know.
Yeah. We're up to the restaurant 6 feet away, skip 3 tables game right now here.
Yep.
Which is interesting. It's an interesting move.
Yeah,
I think I've done it twice, maybe.
I've gone on one hike in 4 months.
Yeah, that's good.
But pretty much all we do is write songs and make music and jam. So
Well, that works.
that's good.
Nothing wrong,
Yeah, that kind of works out.
nothing wrong with that. I'm in Boston, and we're kind of in the same position.
Oh, nice.
Same
You're in Boston.
Yeah, starting.
Where in Boston are you?
I'm in the South Shore, so I'm in the South Shore community, which is kind of a beach, kind of a surf community, which is highly influenced by music, which is one of the only things keeping me sane right now. So,
That's good.
so
Yeah.
it's cool. Little baby steps. Every day's different, but you know, we're getting by. We're getting by. So
You've lived in Boston for a little bit.
Yeah, I lived there for
like Berkeley, right?
Yeah. I lived there for 4 years in the Back Bay area. Right.
yeah.
I would I worked at school too, and I would if I worked at 8, I'd set my alarm for 7:55 because I worked literally across the street. And I'd just roll up with a cup of noodles ready to go.
Funny story. I don't know if you know this, but Steve, when he was going to music college, met our manager Jude Cole for the first time when Jude was taking one of his kids on a little tour of the school.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, that's how that whole connection started.
I was a big fan too, so I was like, I'm gonna keep in touch with this guy.
Yeah, we never would have met Steve unless Jude rolled through.
Yeah. I
Berkeley when he was,
Facebook messaged him once a year for 8 years, and then the time came, and then I got in the band.
So that tour was the beginning of the relationship that was responsible for ultimately you joining the band?
Yeah, a little bit. It was just
That's
a
so
weird
cool.
fluke. Yeah, we scheduled all the tours, and there was 4 people working at once, and just randomly I got the email, and was
you
I know
saw,
this guy.
you just saw his name and you knew that he was the manager of the band, right?
Yeah, I think it was his wife at the time, but she said my husband Jude Cole, and I was like, there's probably not that many of that name.
Yeah.
So
Did you Google him afterwards, or did you
well,
already know?
I already knew because I think I had just started looking at album credits and stuff. I think Smoke and Mirrors just came out,
Okay.
and I was like, this guy seems like he's doing some stuff on these songs.
Yeah.
And then I saw the name a week later or something come through that email. It was weird.
You're
That
the last kid of your generation to actually look at credits to see who played guitar on what song. And
I was like, there's a lot more than 4 people on these records. Yeah. I don't know what that means.
That's great. I didn't actually know that. That's a really cool story on how things like that happen.
Yeah.
Jason, you mentioned you moved to Nashville. I knew you guys were writing there and stuff. I've been to Nashville once. Nashville fascinates me because I come from a musician standpoint. I was there once, maybe 3 years ago, for about a week, and man, I fell in love with the place. And I can't really pinpoint why, but I know it just bled creativity. And one of the things that I'm curious about, coming from LA and stuff, how do you find, my interpretation of Nashville is that from a songwriter's perspective, and you guys as Ozwald are kind of a good example of this, you write together. There's a lot of collaboration in Nashville that I haven't seen anywhere else in terms of songwriters writing together, learning from each other, writing songs together, trying new things. the sessions that happen there, I just never seen anywhere else. Like, is that a fair assessment? And is that what's kind of influencing you guys?
Yeah, definitely. I think that one of the biggest takeaways that I've had living here for a couple of years, you don't really, and this might be kind of like a newer thing to Nashville, but it seems like you don't have to be a part of any sort of clique. Like, it's not just country, it's not just like Christian music or whatever. You know, I think that's what Nashville was known for back in the day.
Yeah.
Now I just feel like it's a place where everybody that wasn't really content living in like LA or New York or these bigger, older music cities, they didn't feel like they had community, are moving to Nashville. And it almost feels like you can kind of create your own little world in a way. And it is very collaborative. And what I do love about Nashville is most of the people that live here, it's not just songwriters, it's also just like people that you would have on the crew, you know what I mean? Like, it's like sound guys and guitar players and like hired guns and like piano players.
Yep.
Just a lot of really talented musical people that kind of live in this little bubble. And I feel like you just kind of find your people.
I think LA has gotten so expensive to the place where like anyone who tries to hang out with anyone, also the traffic doesn't help with like how long it takes to like, that takes your whole day if you go do one thing. Yeah. I think people have to people have gotten to this place where they're like, if I'm gonna hang out with this guy, I'm gonna like get something out of it. And it's not that here, you know, like people are like, I think people like that have bands, if there's one or two songwriters in LA, like they will like hide that, you know, it's so precious there versus here people are like, well, I'll write a song, you know?
Yeah, you write a song and I think everyone's more interested in like which barbecue you're gonna go to afterwards. And like, you know what I mean? Like it's more about the hang versus like how do I claw my way up the ladder and like use people, you know? Which I lived in LA for like 17, 18 years. So it's like, it feels kind of good to get out of that mentality, you know?
That's really interesting. And I guess it leads me to kind of your music, you guys together collectively. Head Movies is obviously out. I've been spending a lot of time with that record. It just feels good, man. It just has such a vibe to it. And I think like it kind of backs up what we're saying is you guys have put out and created a lot of music in the past 2 years as this duo, which has been really cool. And I remember when I first heard of the group, like that you guys had done this side project, whatever you wanted to call it. I remember reading, like one of the first things I read was how it came from your love of the Beatles. And I have kind of like an odd fascination with the Beatles too. I mean, odd in the greatest possible way. I just, you know, they're the best. But anyway, it took me so that was one of the first things I learned about you guys and this new music, but it took me until Head Movies to really get it. Right. So like when I listen to Head Movies, especially like a song like After the Glowin', I just felt that thing you feel with the Beatles, it just clicked for me. And obviously I was pretty well versed in your previous records and the other music, but for some reason this record in particular, I'm just feeling that Beatles thing or that love or that influence a lot. Maybe I'm just in my own home a lot too, and just like, I'm
that's going. No, that's cool that you're getting that vibe.
Yeah,
but no, I mean that sincerely. So no, I guess not so much a question, but do you guys like how present is that for you in everything you do? Given like really that was one of the first things that was presented with this idea of your music is how much you have this inspiration coming from the Beatles.
I feel like it kind of started there. Like I feel like we love the Beatles so much that they're kind of like our North Star of where we're like, this is where we're going. Yeah. But then in a way, like even with like Born in a State, there's all these little offshoots, right? I feel like everybody's been inspired. I think if you're a musician and you say you're not inspired by the Beatles, you don't know what you're talking about because like everything kind of came from that.
Yeah. I think it's almost trippy that that's the song that you get the Beatles vibe from the most. Cause to me, I feel like other songs on there, I know specifically like what it was like very active attempts to get to sounding like the Beatles, and I don't think there was really maybe the bass part on that, but like I would almost ask you like what is your favorite, like when you think of the Beatles, like what is the part of the Beatles that is your favorite? Because you know, for like what connects to you on that song.
That's an interesting point. Now that I think about it, So I'm a big lyrics and words guy, and I felt like the Beatles to me, they were such melody masters. You know, like the top of the highest mountain you could ever be in terms of melody. That sometimes, I don't know if I'm going to articulate this correctly. Sometimes the power of their lyrics may have been underneath the power of the melody, because the melody was so catchy and groovy that you're like, oh wait, that lyric is really, really strong and inspiring and deep too. So I think I almost worked backwards with Head Movies in terms of like, I really love the lyrics of After the Glowin', and then it made me think of some of my favorite Beatles lyrics that kind of fit that. It's almost like this like wave feeling, you know, like this collective thing. And then I also watched, I was watching your jamming in the van, and I was watching you guys when you're performing Worth the Wait. And I was like, whoa, like you're playing the exact same chords. Like together, you're both playing the same chords. Or sometimes, like if you have a duo and you're playing the same song, maybe someone's finger picking, maybe someone's hitting some power chords, and you guys were playing the exact, like in perfect harmony and perfect unison, the same chords. And Jason, I'm very familiar with your distinct voice, and for moments I was like, I don't know which one's which. It's these songs. Like I don't know which one. I can't pinpoint like what sound is coming from what person. This is so like there's so much unison going on here. So I think that was like those two things made it click for me. But for this record in particular, the words and just how they surfed the melody, that's what jumped out at me at that song in particular.
Nice.
Thank you, man. I think that's awesome. What we all love about music. It's like when you could have 1,000 different people listen to the same song, and everyone will see different colors in their mind. Everyone will get a different thing from the lyric. You know what I mean? It's like, it's very, that's why music is tough, or any sort of art where it's like, I like that, I don't like that. You know what I mean? It's like, it's very personal, and it's very objective, you know? It's like, every single person is going to get a different vibe from it. And just me as a human, like that curiosity is like always interests me, of like, when people come up and they're like, man, this one song that you wrote meant this. And I'm like, that had nothing to do with where it came from or anything, but it's like, that's cool. You know, it's like,
it makes you look at it in another way that you wouldn't have even thought of, you know?
It's like fair game for anybody to get whatever they want out of it, you know, which I think is cool.
I think about that a lot. I was doing some jar work before, and Nine Inch Nails song came on, and I was like, I love this song. And I remember when it came out, I loved the song so much only because of one line and one verse.
That's so fair.
That's totally fine.
Yeah. And it's like, it's timing. Like that line and that verse matched my aggression and emotion in the time that it came out. That was it. So that happens to me all the time. But I'm curious too, like you guys, obviously you're in an environment that is very plentiful in terms of songwriting in Nashville, and just you guys collectively and coming off the road. How do you have a process in terms of how you write songs? Like, do one of you guys bring it in and then the other one add some color to it, or you play with it, or do you write collectively? Every song is a collective effort.
I think there's I think there's kind of like three main strains. I think that there's like with the Head Movies record, there's a few where like we totally started them from scratch, like in the room, even like started them with like a fake drum loop and then later redid the drums just to save time. But like after the Glowin', we sat there and we literally were doing our like first like real photo shoot, which we were like, we don't want to do photos, man. But our buddy Eric Frost, who was out on the Switchfoot tour doing all their VIP stuff, came out and did it with us, and he's great. And we were just like, man, photos are weird. And we were in the studio, and we were just like, maybe I don't know, this is weird. Like maybe we'll just start playing some stuff and just take photos or something. And then we just ended up writing that song with him, actually. Like some of my favorite parts on that song are Eric. Like the crazy guitar solos are not either of us. They're him, and he came up with that out of nowhere. We're like, what are you doing? And some of that stuff. So I think that can be a thing. I think Some Kind of Magical was like that. Sometimes one of us will start something like a little bit of like on an acoustic with vocals or lyrics or something. And then sometimes it'll just be like, like if I'm like obsessed with some band or something, it'll be like, here's an instrumental bed or something that then we'll come together and finish that. But I think it's just whatever, because obviously, you know, having put out like as much stuff as we have, I think it's just like, if there's 2 or 3 other ways we can write songs, like,
yeah,
maybe we can figure that out next, because it's like just trying to trick yourself, I think, and how to be excited about an idea, whatever way you can do that.
I think the fun part too is I think our main process is whoever's feeling it in the moment. Like if I'm really inspired and I come in with an idea and it's like, then Steve like helps me finish that. Or sometimes I'm not feeling it and he'll come up with 3 great ideas and I just help him fill in the blanks a little bit. It's very much like a collaboration of whoever. And then sometimes we both are inspired at the same time and we come up with something on the spot, but it is really cool in the sense that we both bring ideas to the table, and then sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but most of the time it's just whoever is inspired in that moment, and then I think the other person comes in and just like helps fill in the blanks a little bit, you know, like if there's like if there's no bridge or something like that, or like we need to go over here for a second, you know, just to like help complete. It's like songs are puzzles, you know, it's like little puzzle pieces.
Right on. That's cool. I was looking at the liner notes and I was seeing some of the writing credits, and I would see like sometimes, I don't know if this was by chance, but sometimes Jason, your name was first and then your name Steve, and then sometimes it was the other way around, and I was thinking, oh, that must mean maybe, you know, maybe Steve brought the idea to this song and he was the one, you know, like, I don't know, maybe it's like too far into it, but that's what made me ask that question.
We don't really look at it in those terms. We kind of think with Ozwald, it's almost like if he wrote most of the song on one song, or if I wrote most of we just are like partners 50-50. So it's, it's kind of like, one of those things where it's like, we look at the whole project as our own, as like one entity, and it doesn't really matter. Like, and I think that's a healthy thing. Like, don't get into like who did what, you know? I've always believed that too. Like when you get too far up into like who played every little part, like, you know what I mean? Like that can get kind of,
that's where we kind of like
band
crediting like who played what too. Like we just try to make it be like
as simple as
if you
possible.
hired anyone else or something, or friends played on it, like say what they did, and then obviously everything else is one of us doing something. Or
it's sometimes it takes both of us to get like a good drum take and like fills and stuff. Sometimes like on the Mellotron, if I'm not feeling a part and I don't feel like it's in my wheelhouse, he'll do it. So we just like kind of look at everything of like, we're both painting a picture and let's just figure out how to get the painting done. Doesn't matter like what colors you're using, you know, or like who's taking credit for that was my blue over there. That was my red over there.
Which is like, I think it's sometimes it's super funny too, like that Work the Weight song. I was dead convinced that I was the high vocal and it was you. And
it's weird. We've been doing it long enough to where it's like sometimes we can't tell. We have to look at the tracks, and I feel like our voice is kind of becoming the same, like you mentioned earlier. So we have to figure out like who actually sang what part, because we're kind of like, our whole kind of mission was like, we want to do 2 albums a year, you know, like we want to like put as much music out as possible because we have the time to do it, we have the passion to do it, we love it so much. And so if we can put like 2 LPs out a year, we're going to try to keep doing that.
Absolutely,
as long as possible. But in that setting, it's like you can't get caught up in like ego games of like who did what, and you know what I mean, because I do really feel like it's like a fully collaborative thing, you know, and you know, you just have to keep yourself in check where it's like, and be fans of each other, you know. It's like if I come up with something that you think is awesome, you know, and like you helped out finishing that, same with you when you come up with something, and I'm like, if I can come up with a little part or there's a couple songs that he finished on his own, but we still just keep it like a full.
I think even on any of those, it's mentality. Like we didn't have a bridge or like you know, other stuff, and a funny like kind of anecdote to that thought is like sometimes even if one of us sang one part on the record or whatever and the other did the other, we sound so similar on it anyway that like when it comes time to play it acoustic or whatever, sometimes we switch it back the other way anyway, because it's just like whatever is easiest to you know, like sing live. Sometimes we'll just flip it from what the record was. So it's like, it's really not a precious thing about any of that, and more of just like it works together. And then if you were to separate the two, it's just 2 completely different things. So
and I think I've been around long enough to see and work with like a lot of younger bands too, where it's like people get so, and younger bands especially get so into like the percentages of who owns what of the song and all that, and who did what on the song, and it's almost like the song gets deconstructed before it even comes out because everyone's figuring over who did what
before anyone even hears it.
And I don't think that's ever a good thing, you know. It's better just to let the music kind of like live on its own, and just kind of step back and go like, just happy to be involved and like to get to play it, you know.
That's cool to hear you say that. And when I was thinking of your jamming in the band performance, I was thinking, I knew there were two voices in there. Like I knew there were two perspectives, but there was just such a unison that it makes the songwriting like that much more believable. I don't know if believable is the right word, but just resonate, you know, better, because here are two people. Maybe you're thinking about the same thing. Maybe you're writing about the same thing. Maybe you're not, but you're playing it in the same sort of melody that delivers a message collectively. Which is, I don't know, it's unique. I think it's probably hard to do that as a duo. You guys would know much better than I do, to have two different personalities joined as one, but also distinctive. So I think it's, and the ambition to have 2 records a year, I think that's awesome, man. I think that just shows a desire, an authentic desire to keep writing and to keep playing, and that you're on this wave that you don't want to get off of. The fire's there. And we need that.
Thank you, man. That means a lot. I really appreciate that.
I think a lot of that is just like being super into like the production side too.
Yeah.
You know? Like we love writing songs, but I think a lot of like what maybe the 2 a year fun part is really just being like, we got this new mic. This guitar is so cool right now. Like we love this new band. Like how do we kind of do that? Or
like we got these new guitar pedals that are kind of like,
they're like
blowing our mind right now. That's just kind of like, wow, this could like write 6 songs on its own.
You
know, like getting into that kind of stuff to keep I think just kind of like a childlikeness, like curiosity to music is so important, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think that some of our favorite bands, you can tell when they're not inspired anymore, and when they're just phoning it in and they're just writing songs for whatever reason that just doesn't seem that there's any life to it, you know? And I think our whole thing is like, we just want to keep like being able to go into the studio and get excited about something, you know?
Yeah. I love that. I heard Jack White once say the best way you know a band is authentic is if you believe them. It's such a simple way to say it. And I was like, oh man, that makes so much sense. So that's why I think that's where I'm coming from when I ask some of those questions and like,
totally,
you know, praise where you guys are coming from. I got to ask before I forget real quick. You mentioned Eric, and I was at the Switchfoot and event with you guys at Lifehouse in the House of Blues Boston, maybe 2-3 years ago, whenever that was. I was there with Artist Waves. I'm just curious. Is Eric the guy that was like the VIP host?
Yeah.
The big personality.
That's our Frosty.
Yeah.
Wow.
He is great.
That's our sweet boy.
Frosty playing a lot of stuff on that song. Like
he's like a Swiss Army knife, you know. He's like very, very good at a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So cool. I would have never known that. He was such a dynamic guitar player, right? That's so cool.
And his band and his own music is fantastic.
Yeah, he's an awesome. So he's singing on that song with us too. It's all of us in there.
Oh, nice.
He came over and he took photos. And then he like, because the studio is kind of out, like far out in LA, and he like crashed the night. And then we like recorded one of his songs that night. I think it's like 4 a.m. It was awesome.
Yeah, we had a good time.
And then we took more photos. I think the day after.
It was good.
It was
cool. So was the plan on, I don't know if this whole madness of the past few months altered your plans, or this was the timing for Head Movies to come out, but what were you initially thinking about? I know you were going on the road with Goo Goo Dolls, but were you going to go on the road with Ozwald at all and with this new music, or did the timing of everything change your plans with basically the release and everything?
I think we were going to put this record out earlier, right?
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, like I think our plan was to, remember we were talking about going out and playing acoustic shows?
Yeah,
I think our plan was to like put the record out, get in my car and just like drive to the East Coast and play acoustic shows.
Just the two of us, like the jam in the van kind of thing?
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then like the whole world changed. So
yeah.
yeah.
So
But hopefully next year we can do that.
Yeah.
Because we just love the idea of going out and playing just 2 acoustics, 2 vocals in small clubs, you know?
Yeah. Because we kind of are, like, as much as like obviously Lifehouse and stuff, we are kind of starting like from scratch with this. So it's kind of fun to like humbly start it like just the 2 of us and then build onto it. We played like a full band show or 2 in town, but the acoustic thing, it just seems like such a fun like road trip adventure.
Yeah. And just doing like all like the little acoustic shows online, I think are good practice for us to kind of, you know, get like ready to maybe do that when we can again. But yeah, that was the plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. City Winery in Boston. It would be a great stage for you guys.
Dude,
perfect.
Anywhere with wine, we'll play.
Yeah.
We'll play at the wine store if they'll have us.
Nice. I'll be there.
That's awesome.
So cool. So I want to ask you too, you mentioned a little bit about the acoustic stuff you've been doing, the streams, and I know you've been doing a ton in terms of benefiting some charities and stuff, which has been really special. Jason, you played one of my favorite Lifehouse songs in Am I Ever Gonna Find Out? Rarity. I think it was one of the first things you did where someone requested it a couple months ago.
Oh, right. For Second Harvest.
Yes, Second Harvest. Yeah. That was it. That's one of my favorites, that song.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
That's
it's
awesome.
It's so cool how many people still dig that second record, Stand the Climb Fall. It's cool.
Yeah, that one in particular really has always resonated deeply with me. Anyway, I'm curious, that desire or that intent to play in partnership with other places that can maybe use some help right now, that's pretty special. Like, what does it mean to you guys to be plugging your music into these things that are making a difference outside of the world of music? Because it certainly is, and people are benefiting greatly from people like you guys doing that.
I just think it's more important than what we're doing.
Yeah.
Honestly, like when I really think about it, people on the front lines, you know what I mean? And like, you know, organizations like Second Harvest, I feel like, how could we not really?
Yeah,
we just play guitar and sing songs. And I know that is important to people, but like in my mind, I'm going like, I'd rather forego making any money doing this for a little bit just to like help out in any way I can. Yeah. Because we play music, you know what I mean? And it's like, that's not as important as what they're doing right now.
100%.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's why we did it.
Yeah. I think that totally.
That's awesome. That's a special perspective, thinking about others when a lot of groups understandably are thinking about themselves, which who knows, I guess, you know, it could be easy to do that and understandable too. But that's cool, man. I mean, you guys are helping out a lot, and your music.
We're trying, and you know, it's like we're just 2 little dudes. Like we're just doing our best.
Seriously,
you know, it's like we're not like
that sums up
changing
our entire
the world, but we're just trying, like, if we can help out. Like we're doing this thing now where for Ozwald, if you buy any of our merch,
hats,
100% of the proceeds goes to Color of Change, which we're really excited about, you know. So, but like, we're just trying our best, you know, to be involved and be active and help out any way we can.
Well, thanks for doing that, because, you know, like, it's cool because when people do that, when artists do that, anyone who does that, I mean, it also inspires other people not only to act and to engage with what you're doing, but to maybe start a way to do it themselves, you know? So,
totally.
So right on. I want to be respectful of your time because I know you guys got a big Reddit AMA coming up.
You're good.
And
we got like 10 minutes.
Yeah, we still have 10 minutes, man. If you still want to
we
talk.
can. I don't think we have that many questions. We could rock this until 3.
Well,
you can help us answer the questions.
maybe we that would be funny. Well, we do solicit some questions sometimes. The cool thing about this platform is people can kind of send them in as they watch and go. And one question,
we've got some stuff in here.
Yeah, we've gotten some cool shout outs. We've got Denver in the house. We've had Memphis. We've had Brazil. We've had I've seen a couple of cool shout outs come through. So hi to everyone and thank you for being here. One question that we got pretty early on, and I'm getting this a lot lately. I think people are really taken to something to connect to, but the question is, what have you guys been listening to during this wild time? What has been your go-to music? And
I'll tell you right now.
Or in any new bands too.
Mine's gonna be very interesting.
Oh,
and way different than Steve. Let me look at my Pandora list right now.
Yeah, let's look at Jay's.
This is what I listen to.
I will say we're watching the Harry Nilsson documentary currently, but
that is true.
So that's number one. But number two.
Okay, so this is what these are my stations: classical relaxation radio.
This is what he puts on in his car too, by the way.
Yeah, meditation radio, Thomas Newman radio, Billie Holiday radio, Artie Shaw radio, early jazz radio, and
is there Anya in there?
No, but she'll pop up on Thomas Newman.
Okay, that's fair. She's
incredible. For me, I like to listen to stuff that's completely separate than anything that I, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to hear guitars and like vocals.
I love that.
That's just me though.
Yeah.
But Steve,
I listen to guitars and vocals.
He finds all the cool new music.
I'm obsessed. I make a bunch of playlists just because for my own self, because if I listen to the same stuff too long, I like go insane. So I've just been compiling like giant
give him your list
collections of stuff. But right now the Harry Nilsson movie is like that me and my era. It's so fun to find like 70s songs that you're like, because so many bands right now are ripping that off in an awesome way, and I very much am trying to figure it out. But it's cool when you can slip in like Me and My Era by Harry Nilsson, and you're like, this sounds like new bands, like in a playlist.
He's never seen the documentary either, which is great.
Wow.
Yeah, you should watch it too. It's called Who is Harry Nilsson?
Yeah.
It's really good.
It's on Tubi, whatever that network is. We just found out.
Just gotta find it.
Yeah, you just gotta find it. But I don't know. Trying to think of other stuff. I really like this one song by Unknown Mortal Orchestra right now. They're great. That drummer went on to make the band Whitney. That's a cool band. I don't know. A lot of Dr. Dog. A lot of who else? Got into Nap Eyes a lot.
Real Estate?
Oh yeah, man, Real Estate's great. Always Tyler Ramsey. That guy. When you're talking about one line in a song that like messes you up and you just go back to it for that. And I don't know if you were saying you were doing yard work at the time, but that's what I heard. And I was like, when I first moved to Nashville, I have this like, I'm like renting this house that's got like a pretty big backyard. And I was like, I'm gonna buy one of those push lawnmowers with no motor, just to, I thought I was gonna like take funny photos of myself with it, realistically, and I still should. But I was listening to Tyler Ramsey's record, and there's this lyric that's like something like, there's this like idea of life on the road. If you don't do that, that seems really cool. And then like the opposite is like a grass is greener thing. And I was like, oh man, I'm butchering that lyric, but that messed me up pretty good. And I was like, that's a great lyric, because no one ever really says that. Like when you're on the road, all you want to be is home. And people that see like tours, you know, are like, man, that must be so cool. And it just summed all that up in such a cool way. But
that's what we're talking about though, man. It's like, it just takes one line to kind of mess you up.
I gotta find that lyric.
And go like, whoa, that relates to me in this way over here. And they probably had no idea when they were writing it that you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the amazing thing about music. I love that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For those that work out on the road and I got it. This, it's so good the way he said it. Those who work out on the road. I'm gonna find it here. On the road. Oh yeah. There's a dream of home for those that work out on the road, and there's a vision of the road for all the others. So good. I can tell you what I've seen because I've been at both extremes. There will be a time you wish you could trade your life for another. What?
That's pretty fun. That's pretty
poetry.
That is poetry. Yeah. It's very poetry. That's
Tyler
that guy is so good.
He's a poet.
Yeah, he's a fave.
With that and your mention of real estate, and you made me think of your Ozfest that you guys did with Brian Fallon. Brian Fallon, I feel like, is so good at that in those types of lines, that storytelling, but also very potent.
Yeah. His lyrics are amazing.
Yeah. And he's like the sweetest dude ever.
Have you ever met him before?
I've interviewed him over the phone, and I don't live there anymore, but I'm from a similar area in New Jersey, but we've never really met in person. You too?
This is Jersey too.
Oh yeah, dude.
Bergen County.
Nice. I'm Sussex County.
Dude, he's one of the nicest humans I think I've ever met.
Yeah.
He's so genuine and nice.
Yeah, he does not act like he's ever been like a dude in a band that people knew or something, you know?
He's kind. He's just a kind soul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Big fan.
Yeah, I agree. He's got. I mean, you can tell that in his. He's doing these too a couple days a week, and
he's getting some great artists too. He just did one with
Lucinda.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
it's so crazy.
Yeah, we love Brian. He's a good dude.
Yeah, such a good dude.
Well, listen, guys, this has been a blast. I really wish we could call Reddit real quick and be like, hey, can you guys postpone
You guys
that?
push it. It's all good.
Awesome. Anytime, man. It was a pleasure talking to you.
I'm really enjoying the record, and I really think it's a really awesome to have this type of melody and this type of harmony and this type of environment that we're all going through. How's that been, by the way? Is it weird or different for you to have new music at that's released at a time like this, where it's
It gives us something to do.
I think honestly it keeps us sane.
Yeah,
you know?
I feel real bad for all the bands like Real Estate who like had their whole tour booked. That was probably gonna like, there's like 5 dudes in that band that probably share, you know, all of the monetary stuff, and like I feel real bad for that because that sucks. That and Brian Fallon, same thing. Like they were like needing those stories.
Same for us too. Everyone that we've talked to though that has like a home studio.
Yeah.
That's keeping all of us sane. Being able to create like
so
in our
thankful.
own safe place, being able to, you know, distance from all that stuff. It's like to still be able to make music in this temperature is like so huge for just like our mental health right now. You know? And it's hopefully, you know, people dig it and they get something out of it and it's positive. But that honestly, like we'd be going crazy right now if we couldn't if we couldn't make music, you know.
Yeah. We're like 2/3 done with the next record, so that's what we've done.
Wow.
So.
That's awesome.
On to the next.
Yeah.
Well, we'll appreciate the current for the time being, because there's a lot to take in and a lot to appreciate. So, guys, thanks so much. Congrats on End Movies, and all the best with it. I look forward to seeing you guys out here soon. And thanks so much for taking the time to chat with me today. It was really a pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
You got it, man.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Right on. Stay safe out there in Nashville. Much love.
Right, thanks, man. Yeah, have a good day.
Yeah.
You too. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye.